Darren.
Okay. Looks like we're live in just a second. All right. We're live, man.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Hey, what's going on, family? This is Darren. And Darren, you guys know me. Darren with Tell SEO, Blerd Planet, all that other stuff. And I have a couple friends here. I have my buddy Brett from Mindsaw. Okay. Buddy Brett from Mindsaw. My buddy Brett from Mindsaw. And then we have another gentleman named Ruan Marino. Brett, I know, do you have something you want to say?
Yeah, well, you know, we brought Ruan on the show because he made a video yesterday that caused a bit of controversy in the industry. It's already gotten around 3,700 views in probably about 24 hours. And it's funny because Darren and I were having the same conversation maybe about 48 hours ago. So what I said to Darren was, it's incredible how you put something in the universe and how it comes back. And how it comes back. So we feel at the end of this conversation, we have a solution for this. You know, however, we wanted to go through the video, and we wanted, because there were things in the video that I guess Darren could speak better about it that just weren't clear.
Right.
You know, so it may be a good idea to go through the video and say, well, I meant that, or yes, that's what I meant. And then at the end, we could kind of come up with a solution and see how you feel about it. First of all, I do want to say, Ruan, that I am a fan of yours, and you have 103,000 subscribers. I have 3,000. So don't laugh. Don't laugh.
I'm a fan too, man, and I have 73.
Right.
500 and some other here.
Right. So listen, we're not in your league. We look up to you in regards to SEO. So it was a bit shocking to see the title of your YouTube video yesterday.
Sure.
You know, it was a bit shocking. So, but that's okay. We're going to go through it, and we're going to make something real good of it at the end. At the end, we're going to make something real good of it.
Yeah.
Okay. So why don't we just kind of go through it? And well, first of all, what were you thinking about when you created that title?
So for anybody that, thanks for having me on first and foremost. Yeah, I actually saw your videos not too long ago. I think when I was starting my channel, I saw your videos, Mindsaw. So thank you for having me on. I made the video because I've been getting asked, I'm not kidding, on a weekly basis, why I don't hire Black people. And, you know, I'm just going to be honest. I figured it was a topic that a lot of people needed to hear straight out of the horse's mouth. And I think it was something that I didn't plan on it to, you know, be this like, you know, popular video. I kind of just did it because I wanted to get it off of my chest and really talk about it, because it is a topic that I started to really think about. So I figured, you know, let's see what would happen if I posted this on YouTube. And I've got so much perspective from the comments on that video and today's video. So I think that it was cool because sometimes you can use YouTube to get feedback on your own life. And so that's kind of why I made it. So I published it, and then I named the title. You know, I figured if they ask, why don't I hire somebody Black, you know, Black person, I'm going to make a video called Why I Don't Hire Black People. So, you know, the title was extreme, and it had, you know, a tremendous click-through rate in YouTube's search algorithm.
Right.
And, you know, I did that for a reason at the end of the day, because I knew that's what was going to get the clicks. So is it a gigantic risk for my brand and my business? To people on YouTube, they think it is. To my real clients, my real customers who saw the video and reached out to me after they seen it, I don't think it's that much of a risk. So, you know, and I appreciate everyone's comments, but that's generally why I made the video.
All right. What were you thinking about with the music in the background?
It's classic, man.
That was Storyblock.com audio subscription on a monthly basis that I just picked some random video with the tag sad on it.
Yeah, it was sad. It was like an apology video, but that's okay. Well, we're going to go through it, and like I said, we're not here to make you feel uncomfortable. We're not here. Sure. We just want people to see the video, What's that sound in the background? We just want people to see the video, and there were a lot of people that I think misunderstood the video, and it really just gives you a chance to say, hey, you know, when you're riffing for 10 minutes, it's easy to kind of go off track. I do all the time. And once again, Darren and I have the most respect for you. We both have shouted you out on many occasions on our videos and put your link in our videos. Hey, here's a great SEO. So there's no hate here. There's only love here. You know, there's only love here. But you know,
right.
We're confused.
Right.
Sure.
And I want to just put a note out here to all the chats. I know I'm streaming to 5 channels right now.
Okay.
Any hate speech or anything like that will not be tolerated. We have moderators
That's not what we're
that
about.
are in here, so you will get shot down. First, you get put in timeout, if not banned altogether. So
yeah, that's not
hey, Darren, where is the most popular stream happening right now?
Probably this one, Darren, on my channel, Darren Marion.
Okay,
So
I'm on
we can do
Ratel SEO, so let me go to Darren.
Yeah.
And you said it was Baron?
Yeah, Darren. Yeah, Darrin.
What's the channel name?
Darren Marion or Bob the Omega. It's Darren Marion, man. Let me send you a link to my channel.
Awesome. Yeah, that would be great, just so I can see the comments as well.
Okay.
Because I was looking at Ratel SEO and I noticed it was live there too. So
yep. There you go, man. It's in the private.
I'm covering the comments because I don't want to be distracted.
But it was live there too. So okay, cool.
Okay. Great. Cool. All right, right on. Let's start the video.
Let's
go.
This is Ruan Marino. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome to this video. I've been getting a lot of questions. I've been getting a lot of comments. I've been getting a lot of concern about hiring people of color inside of my digital marketing agency. And I got a comment the other day from somebody about it. And I definitely wanted to take the time to make a video about it because I think it's important for everyone to know the reason as to why I don't have anybody of color on my team. And it's not that I don't like people of color. It's not that I don't like black people. It's not that, I discriminate against it. To be honest with you, I'm 33% black. So my grandparents are black. In Brazil, where I'm from, a lot of people are black. And at the end of the day, it has.
You stopped it, Darren? Okay. We can't hear you, Darren.
Yeah, Darren, I think you're muted.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
When were you last in Brazil, man?
I'm sorry. My sister keeps calling me. What was the question?
Okay. I said, when were you last in Brazil? You said you were from Brazil. I know.
The last time I was in Brazil was when I was 4 years old.
Okay.
So I moved to the United States because the economy was bad there.
Mm-hmm.
And I moved to the United States because my parents thought there was more opportunity, public school. So last time I was in Brazil was 4 years old.
Okay.
Okay.
Right on, man.
It has nothing to do with I'm discriminating. What the reality is, I just don't have enough money to hire somebody that's new at this current time. So Developmart currently has probably like 12 full-time actual employees. And then we have contractors that we work with. And then we have some people that are part-time that come in and out because of school.
So hold on a second. And we're going to make the video go through, just in the beginning, that's where a lot of the interruptions will probably be. So in order to go through 12, to get 12 workers, how many people did you have to interview to get 12 that stayed? Because we all had those workers who stayed a week and left or got fired. I mean, how many people, is it fair to say you went through 36 people sat in those seats to get 12?
No. So the major issue that I've always had inside of my business is I'd hire people the first time I meet them. And it's something that I definitely need to stop doing because it's always not the best situation and decision. And we've lost people that shouldn't, quite frankly, be in the position. So at that point, my first 6 hires were people that I knew. These were people that were friends with me. They showed a lot of interest in what I was doing. They worked for free for a little bit, and then they basically, was in a position. So it's like they almost interned to hire. And so recently, we've had one interview where it was 3 interviews. It was the first time I've ever done this. It was 3 interviews rather than 1, 3 interviews. And that they went through a process. This was particularly a white woman, and she went through interviews, and then I hired her because she had kind of the things that I look for inside of anybody that wants a position with Developmart, which isn't this holy grail position. I saw a comment. It said, dude, you're not Wells Fargo. You're not Apple. People don't care, blah, blah, blah. And so to me, it is important because it's my business. So generally speaking, it was always these people that I met. I hired them because I didn't know that, hiring more skilled, better trained, more experience within the industry would be helpful. So I wasn't sure on my hiring strategy when I started. I kind of just started knew people, and they would bring them in. And that's how I was hiring for pretty much all of my staff members that are currently there. So I really didn't do a lot of interviewing. At the time, I've only done legitimately 3 interviews since I've been with Developmark.
Right, but out of the 12 people, how many people did you to get those 12 people? How many people do you think you had to interview, and they worked there for a week? And how many people sat in those seats? Because you got 12. You didn't just hire the first person, like you said. You didn't just hire the first person. You had to go through 3 or 4 interviews to hire one. 3 or 4 interviews. So, is it fair to say 36 people? Is it fair to say that to get 12, you interviewed 36?
No way we interviewed 36 people. No way. I mean, you got to remember, like, my business is 3 years old. So I didn't follow the general business model of, hiring people, waiting. I didn't follow all the business book rules, but I should have. And so to say 36 interviews, I would probably say 12 plus 2 interviews of the people that I didn't select for the candidate position that came through a recent LinkedIn posting that I did. So with that being said, I don't think 36 would be an accurate statement. I think it would more so be like 14, 16.
Okay. So 16 people interviewed, and you hired 12 of them throughout the 3 years.
Yep. That is correct.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a fantastic hiring rate, man.
Yeah. It's about 85%.
Yeah. It's almost too easy to work there, which is definitely going to become a problem once we start growing and looking for more serious talent.
Yeah, it sure is.
For so long. So I wanted to talk about 2 different things inside of this video. One, why I wouldn't hire a black person to begin with. And then 2, basically.
Okay. So, and I'm sorry, man. I had to interrupt this, man, but you say would, when you say wouldn't, I mean, that means that's a conjunction for would not.
Mm-hmm.
So you're starting off with the negatives. Was that intentional?
Yeah, that was a strategy to get people to keep watching the video because it was so strong. I knew people would react to that. At the end of the day, I mean, I think that it did give off that impression that I wouldn't, even if this video wasn't made. And now I kind of have like a spotlight on me, I'm sure. And so, more so the reason why I did that is it goes back to when people were asking me, why don't you hire people of color? And then I kind of said, this is why I wouldn't hire a person of color. And I did that primarily because I knew it would get some type of reaction, and I knew it would get more engagement. And I knew that people would start a discussion down below in the comments, with my ultimate goal being, I want to get feedback of the situation that I'm having.
Good. Yep.
Basically, my goals around this. So I think that diversity is very important. But with that being said, I'm not going to hire somebody just because we need to racially, look involved. I'm going to hire somebody because of their skill set. I'm going to hire somebody because of their motivation. I'm going to hire somebody because of their mindset. I'm going to hire somebody because of their dedication to get the job done. I'm not going to hire somebody because people are commenting online about my videos or my website that I need racially people there. I'm not going to hire somebody just because I feel bad about it. I'm not going to do that. And the reality of is, I have a lot of black friends. I have a lot of my favorite artists are black. I'm a very big rap music fan.
Ruan.
Why did I know that was going to get paused there?
You just knew it, right? You had to, man.
I immediately knew it. The rap. Go ahead.
Ruan. That's the first thing that people say after they do something. Now, you hadn't done anything, but that's the first thing that people say. They have a lot of black friends.
Yeah.
You said it, not me.
Yeah, and rap music, man.
And rap music. Do you see black people as rappers? I mean, to entertain you? I mean,
So I think that to bring that up to someone like me is going to be quite a difficult argument, because I see black people as business owners. And I think that when you look at artists like Jay-Z, and when you look at artists like 21 Savage, we look at artists like Lil Baby, I mean, they're not just entertainers, they're businessmen. I mean, you have Kanye running for the presidency, These are not just entertainers. So people may be offended because I think that way about some of my favorite artists, some of my favorite businessmen, some of my favorite colleagues, and some of my clients. And at the end of the day, it's not because I think of them. I think of Black people as artists or rappers or whatever it is, but those people are business owners at the end of the day. So, and just to be quite frank with you guys, I mean, I don't know how else to put it. I get along very well with Black people.
I would hope so, man.
I do. I mean, we use the same lingo, and we have a connection, and it is what it is. I mean, that's why I have so much comfortability talking about this topic, but also making the video, because I started to realize, that it was a situation. I mean, this is really what's happening. And although I say, look, I'm not racist, I like Black people, they're my favorite artists, I still have a team with not one Black person. And so at the end of the day, that's the end result of why somebody would criticize me for it. But then we're going to talk a little bit about statistics of who's hired, the population that I'm around, etc. And so at the end of the day, I do see Black people as artists because they are the best artists. It is what it is. I mean, you can challenge that, but it's the truth. They're the best artists, and those artists are businessmen. So, and businesswomen.
Yeah, I don't think it's to be challenged or not to be challenged. It's just that they're also ice cream store owners, and they're cab drivers, and they're moms and dads, and they're other things. So. But,
right, you said you mentioned business people, so so I just thought it was an interesting choice of words.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't look. I'm not gonna. I personally don't think being a father is noble in a sense. Okay. I think a lot of people have kids just to have kids, and that doesn't mean that they're noble. They just decided to have children. And so what I do think is noble is when you can touch millions of people with inspirational music or inspirational videos or things that are going to motivate people to get through. And when you listen to the lyrics of several artists, it isn't just about what people typically think Black people are doing. It isn't just about drinking scissor. It isn't just about, robbing. It isn't just about stealing. It isn't just about treating women terribly. When you listen to like rappers like Lil Baby, it's inspirational. I mean, it is. I mean, the guy's talking about some real things that he's gone through that's made him stronger, and he's practicing persistence. He's practicing motivation. He's practicing all of the disciplines that normal people, anybody can use, black, white, yellow, orange, anybody can use to be successful. So I wouldn't say, look, Black people, they have the best kids and they have the best, that's not what I look up to. I can't say that, they have the best families. They have this. I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at success as the key metric.
You don't think families you don't think there's successful Black families?
I do think there are, obviously, but what I was trying to say is like, that's not how I'm going to characterize of how noble somebody is. I'm going to characterize how noble somebody is that can successfully take care of their families, because you look at people like Kobe Bryant, when he died, his family's taken care of because he made the sacrifices in his life to do that. If somebody on the street broke as hell in the ghetto died and they had nothing but problems with all the people in their lives, they're bringing nothing back to society. So I think that my noble, yes, families are noble, but that person could also have a family that's just done drugs the entire time. So, I definitely, obviously, Black people have great families. They're the most tied and connected communities in the world.
Okay.
Hence why there's a Black podcast that Darren's on that talks about Black business owners.
Yeah.
So, but at the end of the day, I just need good people to inquire at the agency that are of color. And I think that part of that has to do with our hiring strategies. And when I put out a job posting on LinkedIn, when I put out something on Facebook, when I put out something in the local paper, when I try to get new talent, we just haven't had anybody come in that's extremely qualified of color. And it's very
Darren,
sad
stop
to
that.
do so because
you don't need me to tell you. I have 3,000 subscribers. You have 103,000. You certainly know the internet. But there are, if you are seeking Black talent, there are places to go to find Black talent.
You're a search expert, man. I know you are.
Right. I mean, right. I mean, that's your thing. I watch your videos and I learn from you. I mean, like I told you, I look up to you.
Yeah.
I look up to you, and I think Darren does too. So, we both know Darren made a list we just made a list off the top of our head of a couple of sites that you could go to. I mean, if you really want to change the culture of your office, you can do that, right?
Mm-hmm. And that's something that I was not aware of, because our hiring strategy right now is using LinkedIn Jobs. And so the candidates that I got through LinkedIn Jobs, and we've interviewed very, 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 diverse people. We have diverse people that work at DevelopMark. We just don't have an African American.
What do you mean diverse?
Yeah.
So diverse in terms of skin color, diverse in terms of nationality, those types of things.
I see.
And so we've interviewed, Indian. We've interviewed there as long as they're local, because that's our qualification. I was not aware that there were websites that specifically targeted job listings and job candidates for, Black people. That I was not aware of. Yeah. And if you are aware of that, absolutely send the resource over, because every African American that I found that would be a good fit to work with us has their own business. So it doesn't work out. And there's my buddy Joel, who does SEO. He's very good at SEO. He would never work for me because he's doing too big of things. I don't know. What do I do about that? Right. I'm not going to hire somebody that's, I'm not going to hire somebody that's not, at least a little familiar and has the interest and has the passion. And I know there's a lot of people on my channel that are Black that follow me because deep down they feel the connection to me, and it is what it is. And so I think that, I can't hire people that are in a different state. I just can't do that. It just doesn't work well for my business model. So what the point I made in the video today that I made was our town, when I do this LinkedIn posting, I target local, and most of the candidates that I get are not African American. And I'm actually trying to pull up the job listing right now to see if I've even gotten one, because that's a really good topic for my video tomorrow. But at the end of the day, I completely see where you're coming from too, though. And if you have those suggestions, I'm completely open to seeing them.
Yeah, we'll put them out there.
Cool.
Because I would love to have a Black person on our team. And when we do get our first Black person, which I already think of someone that I know that's going to be that person, I just want to make sure that they're qualified. I want to make sure that they have a good skill set, because I would never want to put them into a situation of where they're coming to DevelopMark just because they feel like it was because they were Black, or because they were ethnic and because they were Spanish, or because they were Indian, or whatever the case may be.
What do you mean? What exactly do you mean by that? Like say that a different way.
So I don't want somebody feeling like they only have an opportunity because of their ethnicity.
Right.
And I think that it happens a lot. I think that because of programs like affirmative action, because of programs like advanced business education in the workplace, although I think that they're good programs, they should be there. I don't think that I wanted to make somebody feel like they're getting an opportunity just because they're Black, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should tell them like that's how it is. But the person that I'm looking at right now is a rapper, funny enough. And he's really good with people. He's really local, and he can do the account management role just perfectly. And he's very talkative, and he does his own thing. He's got his own Instagram following, and that's the type of people I need. And so that's probably going to be, the first Black person that works at DevelopMark. And so you probably will meet him. And I get that, I shouldn't be making it a token. But it is a big, it's like, I don't want to have the token Black guy. And then he's like, oh, I got to go on camera because he's going to be cool with it because he's just a good guy. And so at the end of the day, that kind of sums that up. That's how I would say that a little bit differently. I don't want somebody just feeling like they're in a place, even though they're not good at what they do. They don't feel good. They don't like the team, and they got there just because they were Black.
I don't think a Brazilian would want to be, or a white guy or a Black guy. Anybody would want to be, hired just because of their ethnicity. I think what you're saying is correct.
But I mean, if you've ever seen like The Office, have you ever watched The Office?
I'm not a fan. I don't like that when they turn the cameras like that. I don't like that. It makes me nauseous.
Kids love it. Man.
Well, a black warehouse manager rises up to corporate with one of the new policies, and obviously he took advantage of it and he liked it. So maybe some people would like it, and maybe it would push them to feel a little bit better because they do feel bad about how they were born or whatever the situation is. However, their self-confidence is hitting them. And usually Black people have great confidence. So that's, I'm sure that's not an issue. But
well, my question would be, so is there something about the environment at DevelopMark that would make someone feel uncomfortable there? because of the color of their skin? I mean, just because because I treat everybody the same, and so when we have someone that comes in and I meet, Ruan, I meet Joe, I meet George, there's no difference between how I treat them except I guess how they treat me. So I guess that's kind of I'm not clear on.
Yeah, and that's a really good question, and I know that they would treat anybody that comes into there with the utmost respect, regardless of the person. We have a variety of ages, men and women, Spanish and white. We have a variety of people inside of there, and it's something that we're working on more. But I think to your point, the only reason why they, and I don't know, I can't speak for Black people. I'm not fully Black. And so I can't speak for them and making them feel uncomfortable. I just know that if I was the only Black person potentially in a situation with 12 people around that are all, pretty much white with exception of 2 people, I just know that I would potentially feel like this employer specifically gives opportunity to white people and it may make people feel uncomfortable. And that's why the internship program really stuck out to me, because it could be a wave of hires. So they're immediately placed into a position in a culture where it's not just white people. And so I don't know how they would feel about that. But what I will say is, personally speaking, from how I would feel if I was a Black person and I was hired at a company with 12 employees that are white, and this person that's going to be hired on as an account manager within 60 to 90 days, I don't know if I don't think he's going to feel that way. And that's what I meant by emotional intelligence. I need somebody that can think that way, because it shouldn't be that way. And it should be a historical moment for that person. And
that person has to have an extra skill set that everybody else doesn't have.
Right.
Yep. And that skill set is of communication. So the person's very skilled in communication and in account management. When you're managing clients, you both know how difficult that is. That person make sure that they can retain a relationship. And we have a lot of Black clients that potentially would like an account manager that is Black, because they get along well. So that's where my thinking was with that. And Darren, I see you laughing. So I want to know.
Yeah, there's just a few laughs. I mean, there's a few stuff.
Yeah. Well, you said a couple of things.
You said a couple of things.
Darren, can I tell you why you're laughing?
Yeah, sure.
Basically was the question that I said, is that the Black person would need to have an extra skill set, and you said yes, meaning that the white people would need 9 skill sets out of 10, and the Black person would need that extra skill set, which was whatever you said, being able to. What did you say? Something.
Being able to be a minority.
Something.
Right.
The Black person that's coming on to DevelopMark right now has to have a skill, because we are opening the job position that skill requires, which is account management.
Yeah.
So I would never.
So a white person would need that same skill, right?
Right. So yeah,
I can find a white person.
Yeah.
I mean, you have employees. You say you have clients who are Black people, right?
Yeah.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they communicate with me. They don't even communicate with the account manager. They communicate with me. It's just I hate to say it's just a different flow. It is. And at the end of the day, like our clients, one of our biggest clients is a Black organization, primarily Black organization. And so this is a company that I wake up at 7:30 in the morning and I have a conversation with their employees, and they hire mostly Black people.
Mm-hmm.
So
is this Black person that you're going to hire, are they going to be there just to manage the Black accounts? I think Monica actually.
No.
I mean, because they have to have this extra skill set.
No. They're not just going to be there to manage Black accounts.
I was wondering. I mean, that is a good question.
But here's the problem, Darren. Okay. My clients notice it. Okay. Just like everybody else notices it. My clients notice it, and they go, "Why don't you have a Black person?" And I say, to be honest with you, what do you think? How do you even answer that? Right. So like at that time, I'm sitting there and I'm ashamed, and I'm like, "Oh my God."
No, don't be ashamed.
And so
I'm going to tell we're going to tell you, because it's something. I guess this is a good segue, and we don't mean to interrupt you. And like I said, I'm going to go back to say it. We have the utmost respect for you, and we're joking around, and we're trying to get through this video, and we have respect for you, like I said.
Yeah, no,
but
that's all right.
There's not many Black ice hockey players. Right. So if you wanted to put somebody on a hockey team, there's just not a large enough. There's not a lot of bobsledders.
Right.
And another thing is not a lot of Black bobsledders. There's also not a lot of Black SEOs.
Yeah.
Right?
I know a really good one. His name is Joel.
You know one. Excuse me. You know one
in person.
You know one in person, but you also know probably 10 white or Spanish or Indian that do SEO within a stone throw from your office. It's just, for whatever reason, we're not going to get into why Black people, for whatever reason, aren't into SEO. Either they weren't introduced to it, or every time they watch a video, they don't see anybody that looks like them. Right? So that Darren, you know, who's a really shy guy, the only reason why he does videos is because he's one of the only Black people who do SEO. So maybe a young kid will see him and say, hey, man, you know what? If he does it, I could do that. So there's just not a big pool of people who do that. So that's really the reason. It's more of a cultural issue than a skin color issue. Because skin, we're all the same in regards to skin. But it's a cultural issue. For whatever reason, that culture doesn't play ice hockey and doesn't do bobsledding.
Well,
and if you want to say,
real quick, my son actually plays hockey.
Right. How many other Black
I'm just
ice
making
hockey stars?
I'm making a joke, man. Yeah,
you know what I mean? So like, you know what I mean? So like for whatever reason, that's just not it. So you don't have a large enough pool to pick from. And that's the reason why you probably had to get you know, to if you wanted to bring somebody on the team, it was an account manager, not an SEO. But at the end, we're gonna solve this problem. We're gonna solve this problem because Darren and I had a deep conversation the other night at 10 o'clock at night. We spoke about this and we have the solution already. But go ahead. But that's great, Ruwan. I understand what you mean.
Yeah, and I think it's, you know, somebody said in the comment section, they said, does the Black employee have to rap on the job? And, you know, those obviously aren't requirements that we can legally put on a piece of paper, but that's the personality I need for this specific job post that we have coming up. And so if that person's going to rap for accounts and make music for accounts or do whatever it is for accounts that's going to help us retain clients and make them happy, so be it. Yeah, they should absolutely rap on the job.
Gotcha. Okay.
From Brazil. So I was born in Brazil and I came to the United States when I was very young, and I dealt with, you know, immigration problems my entire life. There's been a lot of presidents, including this one right now, that doesn't want people like myself here. And the reality of it is, I know.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that, man. I say that the issue is illegal, is legal, is being here illegally. But we won't touch on that. That's something. That's another animal, man. We're talking about why we're not hiring Black people.
Know what it's like to be discriminated against. I know what it's like to feel as if you're the person that's not supposed to be there. I know what it's like to be that third leg. I know what it's like to be that person. And I never would want to put somebody in a situation to where they feel like they only got the opportunity because they were.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but when was the last time you were put in that position? When were you put in a position where you felt uncomfortable?
The first time that that happened to me was probably when I was graduating high school. And what had happened was, you know, I wasn't, you know, able to do certain things that the typical U.S. citizen could do. And that has changed. But at the time, you know, my friends were getting jobs. My friends were getting their driver's license. They were driving, and I couldn't even apply for a social security number. And I was born here and I grew up here. And I sang the same American flag that everybody else did at school. And at the end of the day, they would ask me, why don't you have your ID? Why don't you have your driver's license? Why aren't you getting a job? Why aren't you doing X, Y, and Z? And it was just too embarrassing to talk about. And so that feeling right there, I say it all the time. Look, like, you know, Black people, they say that they're in underserved communities. You know, they have, you know, several issues. It's difficult to get aid. There's not a lot of education. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, you know, there's a lot of people that face similar issues and they can't even apply for something like a government benefit. And so that does have to do with legality at the end of the day. But when you were a child that was brought to the United States, it was not your option. It was not your choice. You had nothing to do with it. You literally had nothing to do with it. So you grow up thinking that you're American to realize you're not.
Wow.
And so that feeling, you know, that feeling that you get when that happens, you know, it takes a toll because you don't want to be as public as people think you would want to be about it because it's kind of embarrassing, you know? So that's a specific example of how I felt like that.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it happens for you every day, man.
Yep. Go ahead.
And I don't think that that's fair to the people that I work with as well. Because if I were to bring in one person of color, let's say, and they felt like that person only got an opportunity because they were of color, although they would still treat that person with respect, because that's what my team is. My team is full of energetic people. My team is full of nice people. My team is full of people that appreciate human beings, are not racist, are not, they don't mind color, but they would know, they would sense that that person is only there because of.
Don't mind color.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple of ants.
I have
a couple of ants in my apartment. For whatever reason, I make coffee with a little bit of sugar, and I see a few ants walking around, and I don't really mind them, but they're a nuisance. What do you mean you don't mind them? Yeah,
and that's a good point. I think it's clear that there is discrimination. I'm not going to hide that. I think that it's clear that people discriminate. And what I was trying to communicate there was people obviously, will notice a black person. I mean, it's let's not beat around the bush. They will. Why? Okay, why am I even thinking that way, etc.? It is what it is. It's just the reality. And so what I was trying to say there is, it would be something that we would welcome into our culture and need to start welcoming, because it's what we need to do to grow. And at the end of the day, I just wanted to communicate to the video viewers that it's not the culture because they wouldn't mind, but rather it's the leadership. And so at the end of the day, everything goes towards the leadership. So my decision to not find these strategic ways to get some diversity into the workplace directly affects them, even though that they would be more than comfortable with that happening. Not that there's a board discussion, okay? There's not a board discussion going on about, guys, should we hire a black person, this and this. This recently I just posted on YouTube videos. My staff probably has seen this. He's probably seen these videos, and that I understand. But it's not a board discussion as to if they would mind it or not, but rather it's a situation of they would be more than comfortable with it. At the end of the day, it falls down to the leadership.
Okay.
Color, unless they truly were an outstanding person. And look, have I had the opportunity? Have I had the chance? Have I had the actual inquiries of people of color to join the team? I have, but I've also had the inquiries of white people trying to join the team, or of anybody trying to join the team, and they just weren't the type of person that we would allow inside of our company. So I wouldn't make that exception because somebody.
They weren't allowed inside your company?
Yeah, I mean, if they don't have A, some type of qualification, B, the motivation and mindset to keep following up with the typical things that I look for inside of our hire program. If they don't have those qualifications, regardless if you're black or white, you're not going to be accepted inside of our company, because we are, and
you're trying to get the best candidates.
Right.
It's not only that, but to be honest with you, the black people that have asked me for a position in the past, they messaged me on Facebook. They didn't even have the basic knowledge of making sure that you submit a resume, go to the website, do this. And these are people that I knew and I grew up with and I would never work with. And so because of that, they did not get offered a position at Develomark. And so I think that with that must, that's important, because it's not just a Facebook message away. That's not how we conduct business. It's a resume, it's qualifications, it's to the website. And so I just haven't had that from a qualified candidate inside of our local area. That is, keep in mind, I've had 2 people that did work with us for a very short-term time, but now they're doing their own business and they were black. And so, I have to respect that. I can't, obviously I wanted to keep them, but they started doing their own things, and that's something that I can't control. And I think that entrepreneurs are black people. And so, a lot of the people in my area specifically, they're doing their own thing. So they don't really have, most agencies that I look at, granted, like Blue State Digital, which is an agency that's super diverse. Most agencies that I look at, there's a lot, the ratio of white people to black people is hilarious. And so that's something that I think a lot of agencies are going to start looking at, because clients are going to start noticing.
Well, what do you mean hilarious? Why would it be hilarious if not a lot of black people do SEO?
Because black people can be hired for other things too. I mean,
digital marketing, right? I mean, that's what we're in.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have to just be hired for SEO. And our agency doesn't just do SEO. So they could do account management. You can have people in video production. You can have people in a lot of the different markets that that are inside of digital marketing.
I see. All right.
And I just answered the question. Some people were asking what was the name of your company, so I went and shared it. So,
okay.
Cool. Yeah, it's Blerdplanet.com.
And listen, anybody watching this video, this guy is a god in internet marketing. We didn't just pick up some chump and say, hey, we're going to bust his chops. Like, this dude is the dude. You know, we're speaking, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
this
we wouldn't have taken the time.
We
really
wouldn't have taken the
taken it
time
at
with
all.
somebody that had 3,000 subscribers like us. You know what I mean? So
yeah, you guys are busy.
Yeah, we're busy trying to get like you. You know what I mean?
You can't take subscribers to the bank, though. Just a little bit, but not too much.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's another story. But go ahead.
Videos of color. Now, look, we have diversity. We have Spanish, we have white, we have different nationalities. We just don't have somebody of color yet. And that's something that we definitely want to change going on in the future, because it's going to be critical that we increase the amount of diversity inside of the workplace. I'm just praying that somebody with qualifications ends up coming to me and saying, look, I'm looking for this. I can do this. Here's my jobs. And then getting them to join our team is going to be critical for growth. And I know I've been getting these comments a lot. You guys have been saying some things about it, and I can clearly understand it. And it was the other day, I was in the office, I was looking around, and I was like, oh my God, there's no black people here. And that kind of scared me. And it made me wonder, what is that experience going to be like when we get our first person of color to come into the agency, and they're sitting around and they're looking at all of these white people, and they're looking at all.
So
I think you
real quick, Brett. Did you know that black people are a minority? I mean, so we actually, most of the places we go, we might be the only black person there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think you're projecting, Ruan. I think you're projecting your feelings, how you felt, you know, during your uncomfortable situation that you shared with us. And I see I see where you're coming from, but I think you're projecting that on that person. Is that possible? That maybe you're projecting your feelings on how you think they're going to feel. They may not feel anything.
It's a minority.
Yeah.
They may just feel like, hey, it's a place where I work, and these are 11 other people I work with.
Yeah. And look, that's an extreme that's an extreme possibility that could be how they feel. But you also need to consider, what if that's not how they feel? And, you know, I like to prepare for the worst. I mean, I don't think that I'm the type of person to just, you know, not understand the other side of the possible, because I mean, it would be fine. You know, there would be no issues with it. It would not be a problem. Nobody would care. You know, they wouldn't care. I'm sure that's the case, but they would still think about it. And to deny that,
how do you know? How do you know they would think about it? How do you know what other people will think?
Because I've had people say things to me before. Black people that have worked with us, videographers, black people that have worked with us, black clients say it all the time. Okay, you subscribers say it. So if they're telling me from these are black people, if they're telling me, that means the person I hired would tell me. And so this might be a crazy assumption. It just might be.
Yeah, I think you're taking it all. I think you're taking it a little. I think you may be taking it a little too far, Ruan.
I think so. You could be putting yourself in a bad position. Huh?
Yeah.
I think it could put me. I think it could put it into a bad position, because you are manifesting something that probably isn't there.
Yeah.
But I also am a firm believer to say, like, look, if I was, let's say I was black, I would know that I was black, and fully black, like skin black. Okay, I'm 33% black.
All right. Okay.
All right, not 100. Okay. So if my skin was black, and I was at a place where I was at a dinner with 20 white men or white women or white people, just in general, I'm sorry, I'm gonna notice. I mean, like, I don't know. Would you not notice, Darren? Do you notice? Is that something that you notice? Is that something that when you go,
if I'm out with a bunch of friends,
business? Okay, let me put you in a situation. Okay.
Let me set up the situation.
Okay.
I was in it. So I was a captain on Rikers Island. If you don't know what Rikers Island is, take a look on the internet. Do you know what Rikers Island is?
No, I've never heard of it.
Really?
I've never heard of it. I'm going to search it.
You never heard of Rikers Island? Rikers Island is the largest jail in the United States. It's the most notorious jail in the United States. I was a captain there. There would be times where I was the only white person out of all the supervisors and all the officers. And then I would go to a housing area, and I was the only, and somebody would come up to me throughout the day and say, do you realize you're the only white person in this jail today? And do you know what I'd say? I didn't realize it. I didn't realize it. So what am I trying to say? That I'm the ultra liberal person, that I only look at? No, it's just that I had a job to do, and I was there to do my job, and I wasn't there to look to see who the other white guys were. I had too much going on.
Yeah.
So, like, if your employees are busy doing work, I don't think that they're going to notice that.
Especially if it's a good work environment, man. I mean, it seems like you have a good work environment.
I was in a bad working environment, and I didn't notice it. So that's like the best example that I could give. I think you're projecting a little too much, brother.
Yeah.
You know, you're projecting on that person. Just let them sit down and work.
And like I mean, look, it wouldn't be like, guys, you know, there's a black guy in the building now.
Right.
You know, act the right way. It's not even like that. You know, we're not a correction facility where people are yelling cracker, people are yelling this, you know, fuck you, this. We're not, obviously that's not our culture. Our culture is very friendly. So you have a point though. Look, if I manifest that mindset, it's going to become a problem. It just is. And I didn't mean to make it sound like in the video, like I was, you know, it was severely, you know, board meetings were happening about making a decision to hire.
Well, it kind of sounded like that, but okay, you cleared it up.
No, it did sound like that, but also, you know, if Darren, let's say Darren, as an example, started dating, you know, a girl, and her entire family was white, and at that dinner date, he was at the table, and all he saw was white people. Obviously, you noticed that. I mean, I would. Maybe Darren doesn't.
No, I'm saying that's the difference. I'm dating someone. I'm trying to become part of the family.
I know, you guys.
But here's the thing, Ron. He wouldn't notice it after 20 years. He may notice it the first date, or second date, but not after a year or two.
That I agree. That I agree.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead, Darren.
Right on, man.
All these people who are not of color, how is it going to make them feel? Isn't going to make them uncomfortable. So I'm in this really unique situation inside of my business right now where I got to start bringing on more people of color, because I don't want to make anybody feel uncomfortable when they do come in. When they come in and they feel uncomfortable because they're the only black person there, that first person is going to have to take that hit inside of our company. That first person is going to have.
You see where that's wrong, right? They got to take a hit. They're coming there to work. You know what I mean? They don't have to take a hit. This isn't Jackie Robinson. This isn't the major leagues. You're working with 12 people, and nobody's taking any hits. This is your job.
Your team, man.
Your team. This is one of our team members.
Yeah, no, and I completely agree with that. I completely agree with that. Maybe that is an over assumption of how difficult I think it actually is going to be. No, you're absolutely right about that. It isn't, at the end of the day, it isn't taking a hit. You know, everybody should be treated as if it is normal and it is okay, which it is. And so, no, you're on point.
Right. Yeah, nobody.
And look, sometimes when you make these types of videos, there's no script. Okay.
You're riffing. I understand.
You're just talking, and just listening to this video right now it's cringy, and I think that's why it got so many views. Is because it's so cringy. It's so absurd, and that's okay. That's okay with me.
That's all right. You got two friends here that are walking you through it, and we're not putting you out there. And I'm not trying to son you. I got you by 20 years. You could be my son, you know. But I'm not trying to son you. I'm not trying to disrespect you. Like I said, I look up to you.
Right. And Doug, yes, I have plenty of black friends. Sorry, I mean, I don't see saying that as you know, I feel like I'm in the wrong. It's just the reality. I do.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So hire some of them.
There's actually somebody in the comment section that was
Jules Kidd
videos, that we've met, and actually I have a great relationship with him, and he can't work at Developmart because he's doing his own thing,
right?
And so, you know, that's not something I can control. I'd hire him like this, but he's a Connecticut SEO, so
right
on, man.
Okay, gotcha.
That first person's going to have some serious emotional, intactness. They need to be intact with their emotions, because they can easily feel like we're a racist company just because we don't have any people of color. So that first person is going to be critical that they understand the business, why the business operates this way, and they cannot be the person that doesn't have any emotional intelligence. And keep in mind, I don't hire anybody unless they have a severe amount of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is just the ability to just not get upset about everything and think logically instead of thinking emotionally. And so I wanted to just bring that out there.
Now, is there like an exam that you do? Because I worked in brokerage and things like that. We actually did an exam that would measure someone's emotional intelligence, and so it was entirely subjective. And you take that exam and you look at it, it actually would compare. Is that something that you're doing now?
You know, it's not something that I'm doing now. And it's something that I definitely want to start doing. And we just don't have the resources and the money to pay for those types of HR resources. HR is not one of our most important fields right now, obviously, hence why we're on this call, but it's going to be. And so, and we don't necessarily do a test. We do a skill set test using a software called Bambi, which is an HR management tool that we pay $100 a month for. And that asks basic questions like, in this situation, what would you do? In this situation, what would you do? And every candidate has to fill that out. But, you know, to your point, we don't do an emotional intelligence test. More of what I meant inside of there is, while I'm talking to this person, I'm going to check out their social media right away, right? And so if their social media is filled with, whatever their social media would be filled with Black Lives Matter, with that type of stuff going on, you know, as long as it's okay, it's mild, I can understand that. But to have an extreme case, that means that when they come into our office, they're gonna immediately think something, because, you know, that's their opinion, and there's just all white people. So I wanted to make sure that any candidate that we do with, and the candidate that we are talking to right now, is obviously pro Black Lives Matter, but only to an extreme extent, and only to a certain extent. And so there's a lot of people that Black Lives Matter that are just, they don't like white people, and that's just the truth. And they have the right to, they have their opinion too. And so I would never bring somebody into this type of culture like that, because I don't want somebody blaming other people for their faults. I want them blaming themselves. And so with the political thing, with Black Lives Matter, with what's going on with Donald Trump, with everything that's going on, coronavirus, everybody's pointing fingers. I want to make sure that the person that we hire isn't pointing fingers, is taking self-responsibility rather than saying white people are the reason I can't succeed. And that type of person would not work in our culture.
Ruan, you would do the same thing with a white person whose social media was, crazy, dancing on top of the bars, drinking, grabbing women. You know what I mean? So like it shouldn't be an extra. You shouldn't have an extra step for hiring a Black person by going into their social media and checking out theirs. You would do that for everyone. Is that what you're trying to say? Yes, right?
1,000,000%. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And going back off of what you just said, I think that there's nobody on our team that actively posts on social media, going against any type of cause or thing like that, because that's not what they post on social media. Yeah. And so with that being said, if there was a person that was saying, fuck Black Lives Matter, this, and this, obviously that's a concern. And I think that that's a concern, not just to me, but to the people that they work with.
The point I'm trying to make is that you wouldn't take anybody that was too radical on their social media. It doesn't matter whether they're Black or white or Spanish or what have you. Indian, right? So the Black people don't need an extra requirement to work with you. You're not going to check only their social media, correct?
If you want the honest answer, what I would say is it depends on the value that they bring to the company. So I think that if there's a strong opinion about why Black Lives Matter is such an important thing, and that person has an extreme value to bring to the company, that moment I would probably let it slide. But if it was somebody where there wasn't such value that they're bringing to the company, it would be something that I would look at.
Ruan, I don't think you're understanding the question. I'm going to just say it again because you answered something different. You don't have an extra requirement for Black people than you do for white people, right? No. Everybody has to pass the same 10 steps. You check everybody's social media. Right. You check everybody's.
If anything, we would check everybody's social medias. And because of the current situation that we're in, Black people ultimately, I think in a lot of careers that they start going into, they're going to have less of a step, believe it or not. And so I think that with
it's going to be easier.
It's going to be easier. Of course it is. I mean, you have a situation right now where
it's going to be harder for me.
What was that?
It would be harder for me to work for your company
than it would be for a Black person.
Yeah.
That all depends on what the person's doing. I mean, if you're doing SEO and you're good at SEO, of course you're going to be put into SEO. But if there was the same Black person and they were just as good as you about SEO, obviously the qualifications would outstand, the skin color. But what I'm trying to say is, if I'm going to market for Black people, I'm immediately putting white people out of the pool of candidates. And I need to solve that problem in my company early before it becomes a problem in my company when we grow. And so technically you do have less of a chance because you're not going to see the talent job opening Black people are, if that's how I'm going to choose to market. So,
if Black people have more of an opportunity in your company, how come you haven't hired one yet?
Because this problem didn't arise until all of this.
It's never been a problem.
No,
it was never a problem. It was never a problem.
It didn't start to get to a problem until you see 10 people in a room.
Well, you know what I'm saying is it's not a problem.
Right.
What do you mean?
Well, everyone should be treated the same. There should be a standard across the board. Mm-hmm. And so I guess not a problem, but more of an issue with companies. So I understand. I understand what you're saying.
Yep. Here's the reality, Darren. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I can't lose clients because we're not diverse. I can't make my team feel as if, I don't want to hire people of color, people of other nationalities because I'm not, I'm racist. I can't have that. The effect that happens on business to that, it puts people out of business. And that's why we use so much diversities on the websites that we make.
But that's not the only reason why you're thinking about hiring Black people. The reason why is because you love all people, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. That's what I thought you said.
To your question, Brett, you mentioned, would I have more of a chance than Darren at getting a job at Develomark? Darren would have a better chance because he's the one that's going to see my job listing based on the diversity that we have now.
Why wouldn't I see it?
Because if I'm marketing to a pool of people of color, then you're not going to see it.
Oh, I see. You're going to go on.
Okay. You go to the African American job boards,
gotcha.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, or something like that. You may see.
Let me turn the light on. I look African American. Hold on one second.
Take your time.
Red is he's a peach, man. So you still New York SEO? You still rank for New York SEO? I remember you kicked it one time, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm talking about you, man.
Are we still kicking it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're kicking it. Okay.
All
there
right,
it
friends.
is. Got nice looking. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, let's start back up.
The reality is our company, I have a dear love for it. I want to increase the diversity for our company. I want to increase the amount of Black people for our company. I want to increase the amount of color for people in our company. But at the end of the day, it's got to be done very strategically. That's why there's an entire new job role called Chief Diversity Officer in companies like Zoom, in companies like Apple, in companies like Disney, because it really is strategic. I don't want to put somebody into a position to where they feel uncomfortable. So my strategy on getting more people of color is going to be having to strategically hire, strategically place, strategically do all this stuff to make sure that A, my team doesn't feel as if they're doing something wrong, my current team, and then B, the new people onboarding don't feel as if they're doing something wrong.
What is your team doing wrong? What do you mean doing wrong? What do you mean your team is doing something wrong?
What do you mean by that?
I don't know. You said it. You said, I don't want to make like my team is doing something wrong. What are they doing wrong?
Can you play it back? I just want to hear the context of the video.
Yeah, sure, man. All right. There.
An entire new job role called Chief Diversity Officer in companies like Zoom, in companies like Apple, in companies like Disney, because it really is strategic. I don't want to put somebody into a position to where they feel uncomfortable. So my strategy on getting more people of color is going to be having to strategically hire, strategically place, strategically do all this stuff to make sure that A, my team doesn't feel as if they're doing something wrong, my current team, and then B, the new people onboarding don't feel as if they're doing something wrong. And we've worked with African Americans before inside of our agency. They've worked for us. They've contracted for us. They've done work for us. We just haven't had that full-time person come in yet that's been interested in a role with us, that wanted to stay, that wanted to grow, that wanted to thrive. They've done simple things like videos, photo shoots, sales for us. They've never done a fully integrated role. So I just wanted to get
so Darren, let's stop that. So what were you trying to say?
Yeah. So I guess the major point I was trying to make there is I don't want my employees thinking that, they're doing something wrong by not encouraging diversity. And also the chief diversity officer position in companies, which recently have become a lot more popular. There's so much more opportunity, and the people in those positions are primarily people of color or immigrants or Asian people or Indian people. Obviously, they're, not just Caucasians in those positions, and there can be Caucasian in those positions, but the reality is, there those positions that are paying, I'm looking at a job listing right now of $150,000 a year. Those job listings are paying for one particular reason, and it's to make sure that everybody feels valued, even the diverse, because there is a special management style that goes into. I know everybody's like, oh, everybody's the same. Well, why would there be a position of $250,000 a year for a chief diversity officer? The reality is there's a special management style, there's a special strategy, there's a special way to make everybody feel comfortable, so people don't feel like they're doing something wrong. A, and B, so that they feel that they can perform to their best, and there's no thoughts, bad thoughts about each other. And if there's one black person and there's 12 white people, we were just talking about this, I think that could happen. It could happen, especially they would fit in like the other people have. But I think that, it's a possibility. And that's why there's a role specifically designed for people to motivate, educate, and inspire people of color inside of an organization.
Do your employees have, and I don't mean to be putting you on the spot, the answer may be no. If not, you may want to look into it, like an EEO book. And do you have like an EEO person who's in charge of equal opportunity? Something to say this is acceptable and this is not acceptable in the workplace. Do they know what the rules are?
They do not.
Right. So that may be something that you may want to do by having by having 12 people in an office. I've always discouraged, when I had my office, I always discouraged dating within the office, and that because I've had, different types of, men and women, and, but one thing that I had was a booklet, a little pamphlet that let people know what the rules were, what was acceptable and what wasn't. So this way, nobody does feel uncomfortable, because we don't know how people are raised,
right?
But they need to act a certain way when they're on the clock.
And I really want to respect Ron's time. I know we're at an hour now. So you have something to do. So if you want us to cut it short now, we'd be more than happy to do that, man.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if you guys would like, I'd like to keep going.
Okay, cool, man.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, I just want to be respectful of your time.
You want to be respectful of your time, like you said, you're the guy, and we're just,
And I'd like to potentially post this on my channel too, if you don't mind.
No, man, you're good, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's a very important topic for a lot of businesses going forward in the new 2020s. And it's definitely something that we're looking at. So I wanted to answer one of the comments that I had the other day about why don't I have any people of color yet? At the end of the day, it comes down to money. It comes down to time. It comes down to making sure that we have a good candidate. It comes down to making sure that candidate has the emotional responsibility to get in there and realize, look, I'm the only black person here, and I need to understand why, and I need to understand that.
Now, what is that?
Not always
what kind of bullshit is that? Come on, wow. I need to understand why.
See you later. No,
right. Yeah, you need to understand why.
You want to know what, right?
What are you doing?
Yeah, and
what are you doing? What were you thinking there?
To be honest with you, I was laughing.
You should always be honest. I couldn't
even remember what I said.
All right.
Can you bring it back?
I'd rather not. Just leave it alone. You be in your best interest to move forward. Yeah. But you know what I mean?
Let's move forward from that one.
Let's move forward.
And that can be very difficult to do if you make the wrong hiring decision. So obviously, I don't want to damage the company as much as I do want a person of color inside of DevelopMark. I also don't want to damage the company because that's my number one priority.
So what does that mean?
A lot of companies.
So like it sounds as if you're protecting this company, and that's the thing that's most important. Which your company is the baby, but you're not going to bring a black person in to ruin that. That's the way that I took it.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, that comes down to pure confidence. I mean, if I think that I don't want to put somebody in a position in DevelopMark where they're not the rightfully skilled person, but I hire them because I have pressure to hire a person of color.
Who's putting pressure on you?
No, a lot of people are putting pressure on me. I mean,
really?
The whole United States is putting pressure on people. I mean, that's like I said.
There's putting pressure on people, but who's putting pressure on you?
Clients. This is a company that looked at other SEO organizations, other marketing organizations, because they had people of color, and they actually considered because they did like that factor. And this is not a small account. This is a $10,000 a month account. It's not peanuts. You know what I mean? So at that time, it's like, do I lose $10,000 a month, or do I rethink about my diversity strategy? So, and at that point, it's
But you needed that to make you realize that you needed that client to possibly pull out to make you actually look make you actually look at it.
It was several reasons.
Right.
It was the client. It was YouTube followers. It was family. It was friends. It was people I know. It was, and to be honest with you, sometimes you're moving so fast that you never really get a chance to just like sit back and look at what you've built, and things just happen so fast. So like it started happening and I didn't notice it. And so, you're absolutely right about that. It's something that I did not think about as many times, that I should have. And to be honest with you, I was just moving as fast as I can. I don't want to, I'm thinking about keeping the business alive. I'm not thinking about my diversity strategy. I'm just taking bodies and putting them in seats, whoever it comes.
Yep.
And so, it's any young business. I mean, I see people all the time with young businesses that have 4 or 5 employees. They're all the same color. And you're not thinking about that in the beginning. You're not thinking about that until you start thinking about scaling. So, at the end of the day, I mean, you're right. It's something that I have thought about when I started, because like I worked at places where all of my coworkers were Black, but these were Fortune 500 cell phone companies. These were not small agencies barely making it by with a few clients. You know what I mean? So you don't think about that when you're trying to figure out how you're going to pay the rent and their payroll. You're not thinking about that. You're thinking about who is the next available person that I can put into the seat that's going to fulfill this job and has skill set. And we don't like remote work. I don't like remote workers. I don't like having people remote. I don't like not being able to see people in person a few times a week, even though we're mostly a remote company because of COVID.
So you're doing it now anyway, right?
We are, but we still meet everybody inside of the office on a weekly basis. And there's a reason for that. Okay. I don't want to.
It's your own thing. We don't want to get into that, but that's how you do business. That's cool. That's cool. That's the way you do it.
They're looking at this and they're really strategically trying to figure out what to do about the people of color situation. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a comment down below letting me know your thoughts. And if you have any questions about it, and once we do get a person of color inside of DevelopMark, I'll likely make a video about it. I'll likely start talking about it, why we made the decision, who we hired, why we hired them, their skill sets specifically that are going to make DevelopMark a better company.
How do you think that's going to make that person feel?
This person specifically is going to make them feel good, because I've already communicated this entire situation with that person. So, and they've seen this video and they've seen the video that I posted today.
Right.
This person I think is going to be good. Will I delete this video to make sure that future Black employees don't see this content on my YouTube channel? Probably not, because I want them to understand that, this is just my honesty, and they're going to work for an honest company that has thought about this before and that has discussed this on their YouTube channel before. And some of the people that I've sent it to did say that it is a little condescending, and it is a little, I'm going to probably contradict myself, but I'm not going to contradict myself because it's part of my strategy in business anyways, is to diversify. So when I look at this video next year and I have 5 Black people on my team, it's going to be extremely rewarding. And I think that a lot of people are going to see that they were proved wrong when they said that this video was not in good intentions.
No, I think the video was in good intentions, Ruan. I think you did a great job. But just because you're honest doesn't make that you're right. Doesn't mean that you're right. And you're still a young man. And like I told you before, I'm not trying to sun you.
No,
but,
of course.
But in a couple of years, you're going to look back at this video and you can look at some of the things, and you're going to say, hey, listen, we all wore a shirt and a picture, and 20 years ago, and say, I can't believe I wore that shirt. What was I thinking? You may look back at this video and you may say, hey, some of my thoughts were, a bit single-minded, small town.
I agree.
Maybe. But,
I know small towns. I'm from Indiana, man. Come on, let's place a small towns.
Yes, I mean Southington is a very small town too. But I think that what you're saying could possibly be correct, but that's not going to stop me from saying it.
Okay, I respect that.
You're right. I mean, look, when I was 12, I don't know nearly as much as I do when I'm 26. I mean, that's the obvious. And my verbiage has changed. My mindset has changed.
How old are you now?
I'm 26.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe
I should son you. I thought you were 30 something. Yeah. All right. Listen here, son. All right. Go ahead. I didn't realize that, Ruan. I didn't realize.
How old did you think I was?
I thought you were in your 30s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
That's
thought you
not
were in your
good.
30s.
Yeah.
No, not the way that you look, but the way that you carry
You speak
yourself.
so well, man.
You speak
Okay.
well. You speak well, and you have great leadership skills. And that's the reason
do.
why, for somebody of 26 to have the leadership skills that you have at this age, we just need to put those leadership skills to even a better use than you're using them now.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah. Go ahead, Big D.
Don't want to feel pressured to hire a person of color just because I need to. I would never. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, blue, yellow. It doesn't matter what color you are. You're not going to get a seat inside of a company where you have to have a specific skill set in order to be successful. And I know that there's a lot of people of color out there with some amazing skill set. I mean, a lot of people have amazing skill sets. And so I just wanted to make it very clear as to why we haven't done that yet. It's definitely on my priority list. I definitely want to get it done. I want to get the diversity started as soon as possible, because the longer I wait, the weirder it's going to be when we bring in one person of color and they see, 50 people, 50 white people, which would never happen. I would never let it get that far. But at the end of the day, I think it would be great if someone made like a website where it was like qualified candidates of color. I mean, that would be something that would be so cool, because then you'd be able to post a job posting and get qualified.
So we're going to put that in the
The issue
description
is
below.
once you put out
Right, Darren?
Yes, for sure.
Put that in the description. Okay.
Sure.
I'm actually searching that right now.
Yeah, no, that's all right. We have that worked out already. We'll help you with that. Go ahead.
hiring ad, you have swarms of people coming in, and there are a bunch of different types of people, and it's very hard to find the person of color with the qualifications that you're looking for. And not to say that they don't have qualifications, not to say that people of color don't have qualifications. I mean, immigrants technically don't have qualifications. What was written in my script was to bang a hammer for some white guy and build some guy a deck, right? That was what was written.
Who wrote that in your script?
Your dad has his own business, right?
Wait.
Parents
Okay.
brought you to the United States to live the American dream, to do exactly what you're doing right now at 26 years old, to have a business, to have 103,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, that's why they brought you here. Nobody said you had to swing a hammer for a white guy. What are you so angry at white guys for? What did I do to you?
I think the next video I'm going to make is why I wouldn't hire a white person.
Yeah, that may be better. Yeah. All right, go ahead, Darren.
All right, man.
In my script, I took a completely different route. So I'm not saying that people don't have qualifications. I'm just saying it'd be cool to just stick out to the people that do have the qualifications and have color. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.
Ruan.
Hey, everyone, this is Ruan Marino.
That's right. Stop that. Ruan, I just want to say that you handled yourself like a gentleman, and we roasted you. I mean, you're 26 years old, and you stood up to it. We don't agree with some of the things you said. However, you got the opportunity to explain some of your things, and I truly believe that you're not a person. I think that a racist or anything like that. I don't even want to use that word for you. I just think that you're a hustler, that you just were putting people in seats, and you really weren't paying attention. One day you look back and you go, oh shit, I may have an issue here that I didn't diversify enough. Mm-hmm. Right? That's really all it was all about. And you brought that to the table. So Darren, would it be appropriate to say what our discussion the other day?
Yeah, sure, man. Yeah, why not?
Okay. So one night, about 2 or 3 nights ago, me and Darren were speaking, and we said that there's not enough Black people in internet marketing,
which is alarming. It's
right?
alarming.
Which is the truth. I mean, if you type in, SEO marketing or Facebook marketing, most of the time you'll see white or Indian people. I don't make the rules. I don't make everybody's channel. That's just what it is. There's not enough. There's not enough Black hockey players besides PK Subban and a couple other players. There's not enough bobsledding, but there's also not enough people in digital marketing. So I said to Darren the other night, I said, wouldn't it be great if we were able to get people involved, African-American people involved in this industry? Mm-hmm. And he said, yeah. I said, wouldn't it be great if we were able to hold a conference or do something where we could get people and start them? And he said, yeah. And we spoke about it, and I went to sleep, and then you make the video. And then we have you on the show. How about this? Nobody needs you to give them a job, Ruan. This is the United States of America. All you need is a cheap microphone and a camera, and you got yourself a business in digital marketing. Learn a skill. You don't need to give anybody a job.
Mhm.
Here's what we need to do. We all need to do. We need to teach 3 people how to become business owners. And they need to hire African American people. And then those people need to start their own business and hire 3 people and keep doing that. By you hiring one African American person, that's really not going to do anything.
No,
Yeah.
it's not going to.
It doesn't get enough people
Yeah.
into
And
the pool.
just with my businesses I've had, man, is when I've had employees that have looked at things from an entrepreneur's mindset, it's made the company just better as a whole.
Right.
Just because you have people who are thinking like business owners, when they're making decisions when they're dealing with a customer, they're saying, "Oh, okay, all right. If this is my business, how would I handle this?"
Right.
And so it just makes it's going to make your business that much better.
Yeah.
So what I'd like to do is I'd like to put out video. I'd like to put up, maybe we could all put out a video on our channels talking about how we have this program and that we'd like to get several people started, and with absolutely no money down. You just need the passion. You don't need to know anything about SEO, but you have to have the passion to be a business owner. And maybe we could train them in an 8-week course, and all 3 of us have different skill sets, where we could teach that person at the end of 8 or 12 weeks how to be a digital marketing agency. That would make an impact. Isn't that what America's about?
Yeah, and I don't disagree with you. And I think that partly the reason as to why, I have, I'm looking at your comments right now, and part of the reason as to why I wasn't immediately canceled, right? Keyword, canceled. You familiar with that phrase? It's when I don't know. So basically, Brett, are you familiar with that phrase, canceled?
Mm-hmm.
It basically just means like you're shunned by the community, right? So, as an example, the person who murdered George Floyd was canceled, right? Obviously, So they're canceled in society, and so the reason why that didn't happen is because I have touched the lives and the hearts of a lot of African American people. I've touched the hearts and lives of a lot of Indian people. I've touched a lot of Portuguese people. I've touched a lot of white people, and that sounds really weird. If I ever become a politician, and that clip is
it's coming
down into I've touched a lot of white people, it can probably come off wrong. But yeah, no, I'm all game for that. And I have so much content that I make on a recent basis that I don't publish it anywhere. So if you wanted to put something together like that where I can contribute information to, absolutely. For me, I know that I do not have the time to manage such a project.
Right.
I'm going to focus on Develomark. Yeah, and that's where my recommendation was. Yeah. Because if I'm focusing on Develomark, I'm actually hiring these people and paying them. Although I'm also giving value on YouTube, my goal is to just make as much video as possible. That's why I've gotten so good at it, because I've made so much of it. Right. So I think that at that point, Brett, all for it. I mean, I'm all for it. I think that I've actually thought about that before, about making more videos for free. But then it's like, why am I just singling out, let's say, African Americans? Why can't an Indian person watch it?
Because there's not enough people. Yeah. There's not enough people doing it. That's why.
But then how do you word that, and how do you market that? Is it something that you say, okay, here's our problem. There's not enough African American people into digital marketing. Here's our solution. African American people can learn exactly how to do internet marketing. Right. And then like the goal of that is to get more educated people to land jobs at these agencies. That's something that I think will go very well.
Right? How do you see so many black tennis players now? Right? Because they're putting the tennis development program where they're getting African Americans. Yeah, they're getting African Americans to play tennis. Right? Yeah. 20 years ago, they never played, but somebody had the idea to say, hey, bring that to the community so they could learn about that.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe we need to do that as leaders, because like I said in the beginning of this video, Ruwan, you're a leader. I know you may see yourself as a business owner and payroll and this and an account, but you know what? Other people see you as a leader.
Yeah.
You're a leader. So lead.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If you're passionate about this, I'm passionate about it. Darren's passionate about it. Let's get more people in the pool, and let's put our money where our mouth is. And if anybody, any African-American person that wants to learn, wants to open their own business, wants to work from home or open a little office or whatever they want to do, we'll teach them the skill set. We'll show them where to go, how to open their own business, how to hire more African-American people. The only thing we ask is that they teach other people.
That's it.
And then we can come back. Then we can come back in 10 years, and then we don't have to talk about this nonsense. Why you're not hiring enough African Americans? Because everybody's going to be doing it.
No, the industry is going to be that much better,
right?
Because that much better,
and it's because of you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and not to say it like this, Brett. I completely agree. But I'm already doing a big role, and you're right. I could be doing more, especially with DevelopMark. But I don't consider what I've done for a lot of African Americans that learn from me outside of DevelopMark. And that's something that's very important to me, because I look at the comment section and I look at Jules' kid, which is a good friend of mine. And, you know, I haven't helped him out to the point to where he can lay all his success to me by any means. He's done everything himself. But I've definitely met with him, and I've definitely given him time, and I've definitely showed him everything that I've had. And I think that's
one person. But we could do a show for 3 people, and that's those 300,000 people could watch that show.
Right.
Yeah. That's what I mean. By helping one person, it really doesn't do too much. Like if Jackie Robinson was only to play in a stadium with no people, nobody would know that a black guy ever started in the major leagues. It's only because the stadiums were full. Well, this is our stadium, YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can make something happen, man.
We could make something happen. You got the talent to do it, Ruan. You're a leader.
Yeah.
You're a leader, man. You're a leader. You make things happen. So make it happen. Make it happen. You're the one who put this out there. Why you don't hire black people. Now you have the opportunity not only to hire black people, but to get them involved in this industry.
Yeah. I think you kind of set that fire, man, when you did that.
Yeah.
And I think I have an actionable plan to do so. Yeah. And I think specifically, obviously, this is helping me. Obviously, I think that this call was very beneficial, and a lot of people are going to like watching it. And any ways that obviously we can work together to get it done. But I will let you know that I do have a YouTube strategy fully around making more awareness around this.
You don't need us. If you're going to do it on your own, you don't need us. Do it, but get people involved. That's what you're trying to say.
No, that is what I'm trying to say is I will be doing it on my YouTube channel, but I don't mind contributing time into outside resources as well. My primary focuses are YouTube and DevelopMark. Those are my primary focuses. Anything outside of that is considered extraterrestrial that I do at 8 p.m. at night. Yeah. So those types of things, like you were saying, a contribution to an educational program where several SEOs, maybe black SEOs. I know some great black SEOs. My friend Jonathan Henderson is amazing. Okay.
I know a pretty good one.
Yeah. I don't know any pretty good ones on this call, but I know a few of them. No, I'm just messing with you. But I think that would be beneficial, and I can contribute to that. But I will let you know that I do have a well thought out YouTube strategy on how I handle documenting this process. And yeah, people are going to feel like tokens. They are, and it is what it is. They're going to feel like
that. Again. Why would they feel like tokens? Because people.
It's a valid point. Why is it such a big deal that I started working for this company? I mean, that's a big point. And this is somebody that I'm going to potentially bring on camera, and we're going to have tough conversations about the workplace. He's very motivated. He's very into it. He's a very good business person, and he wants to talk about it. So I think that with what you said, Brett, having a purpose of a course that says, look, this is the problem. Here's our solution. Here's the result of you going through this program. Get a job. And now the black force is increasing inside of digital marketing. My point was I can contribute to that. I don't have the time to create it because my focuses are going to two different things right now.
Okay.
Right on, man. Cool.
Hey, listen, all you have to do is contribute to it. We'll put it together. What do you do? Step 1, step 2. I mean, we'll put it together for 8 or 12 weeks. At the end, they should know how to do it. That's it.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people that would contribute, and these are African American people. And myself, I know a lot of people that I know that would contribute, and these are white people as well. So I think that's something like that, especially if you line them up to get a career based on what they learned throughout the program. You're going to see a lot less of the type of stuff that you saw on my channel yesterday.
Yeah. Well, listen, Ruan, you're a gentleman. I think that maybe some of the words that you used in this video were confused us. However, you got a chance to, go over them and explain them. And we dialed down on you, and you held it, you held it down. So
Yeah, man.
I respect
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Ron. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
look,
I
thanks
respect your time.
for having me on. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it gave me a little agita. It almost gave me a panic attack when you
Yeah.
sent me that email.
Mhm.
You were, it's
Yeah.
it sounded pretty pretty crazy when you sent me that email. But at the end of the day, I showed up because it's something that I am passionate about, and I have nothing to hide.
Nothing
Yeah.
but respect, my man.
So, and I respect you guys too. And obviously, we'll stay connected as much as possible. I'm going to publish this on my channel so people can watch our conversation. And then we'll stay in touch however you want to set something up in the event that you did want me to contribute, or become, certainly.
Yeah, certainly. We're finishing a show next, so maybe this will be the next episode. We're helping a young man who's a chef, and we're taking him through. We're in week 4. We got to go through week 12. So once we're finished with that, that'll be our next weekly thing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I'll download and I'll send you over it in Drive, man.
Yep.
I appreciate that, and I'll publish this tomorrow as my video tomorrow, so I can take a lazy day.
All right, you got it.
Thanks so much, Ron.
All right, be cool,
All right,
man.
thanks, gentlemen. Have a great day.
All right, be cool.